The incised fibula bone of a baboon from around 44,200 to 43,000 years ago, found in the Lubombo Mountains between South Africa and Swaziland, and the similar baboon fibula from some 20,000 plus years ago, found in Ishango near the Semliki River, the Nile River's headwaters, may be tally sticks used for keeping long counts of number sums, especially the Lubombo bone, which has 29 notches and thus may have been used as a rough calendar to mark the number of nights in a full monthly cycle of lunar phases. If these tally sticks from around 45,000 years ago truly were used as rudimentary calendrical measurements of time, there ought to be little doubt that the Lascaux cave paintings from some 17,000 years ago could also be a rudimentary form of zodiac. The term zodiac refers to a bestiary of 12 zoomorphic constellations surrounding Earth's tropic region in an inclined ecliptic circle. Arguably, the earliest now known depictions of anything resembling that definition would be the paintings with black charcoal, white ash, and red ochre in caves across Europe. Because these parietal wall paintings date to around 17,000 years ago, they indicate the thinking of prehistoric mankind at a time some 23,000 to 33,000 years after we reached behavioral modernity. While they probably are not an intentional precursor towards it, these cave paintings, such as those of horses, bulls, etc. at Lascaux, France, definitely precede and may have influenced later thinking about the nature of and how to cartographically depict the fixed heavens. The lion body of the Egyptian Sphinx in Giza, near the necropolis of the Great Pyramid, being carved out from a surrounding enclosure, and both the body and enclosure being extremely geologically weathered, remains difficult to date. Although the body and enclosure of the Sphinx may prove to be an ancient subterranean mastaba, or tumulus, ground-penetrating radar reveals promising signs of underground chambers there. The paws and head of the structure were also clearly built up later on. Insofar as the original date of the body and enclosure's carving cannot yet be specified, and insofar as the human-faced head and lion paws were built later, it is not yet possible to determine if the Sphinx was intended to symbolize a lion when it was first carved out from the enclosure, or if it was simply a burial mound. What should be clear enough, however, is that the Great Sphinx of Giza represents one of the earliest zodiacal megaliths, being a depiction of a lion such as that which would later come to be identified as the zodiac constellation Leo. The astrological zodiac round, as we know it now, is a circle symbolizing the equatorial ecliptic, divided into 360 degrees, where each degree of the circle is equal to one full day of the year, divided likewise into 4 seasons of 3 months each, wherein each month is divided into 30 days or degrees, and where each season is comprised of 90. The signs of the zodiac round, as they have been since they were established by some 2,500 years ago, notably without since being updated to account for precessional drift, resulting in the up to 2 sign discrepancy between the so-called sun sign and rising sign on one's natal chart, follow Aries, Taurus, and Gemini in spring, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo in summer, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius in autumn, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces in winter. However, the origin of the base 12 zodiac round obviously predates this. The eldest likely possible backdating for the invention of the zodiac round as a means of cartographically plotting out a model for the heavens lies in Mesopotamia, Sumer, Akkad, Assyria, and Babylonia, not earlier than the reign of Sargon of Akkad, 2334 to 2279 BC, about whom there are 2 astrological references made in the later work, now called the Venus Tablet of Ammisaduqa, compiled in Babylon around 1700 BC. The next ruler referenced in the Venus Tablet was Judea of Lachish, around 2144 to 2124 BC, and it is described how the gods revealed to him in a dream the constellations that would be most favorable for the planned construction of a temple. While horary astrology and the reading of present omens was clearly present before the 70 cuneiform tablets, comprising 7,000 celestial omens of the Enuma, Anu, Enlil, a series probably compiled into its current canonical form during the Kassite period, 1595 to 1157 BC. The Venus Tablet of Ammisaduqa, Enuma, Anu, Enlil, Tablet 63, copied from a tablet written in Babylon while Sargon II was king of Assyria, between 720 and 704 BC, demonstrates that electional or event astrology and making future predictions was not fully developed in the Middle East until almost 2,500 years ago. In 525 BC, Egypt was conquered by the Persians, and the 12 constellation signs of the Babylonian zodiac began to be merged with the 36 decans of the Egyptian solar civic calendar, with the result being the zodiac round of 360 degrees, each decan being a week of 10 days, with 3 such decan weeks per 30-day monthly zodiac sign, thus creating the complete method of horoscopic astrology, able to make assessments about any given moment in the grand cycling of time, whether it be in the past, present, or future. The eldest now known and most intactly preserved example of this is the Egyptian Dendara zodiac, a bas-relief from the ceiling of the pronaos, or portico, of a chapel dedicated to Osiris in the Hathor Temple at Dendara, 6th nome of Upper Egypt, south of Abydos. This chapel was begun in the late Ptolemaic period. The earliest extant building in the compound today is the Mamesi, raised by Nectanebo II, last of the native pharaohs, 360 until 343 BC. But its pronaos was added by the Emperor Tiberius, 42 BC to 37 AD. The interior date for the Dendara zodiac's origin indicates it was engraved between a lunar eclipse on September 25th, 52 BC, and a solar eclipse on March 7th, 51 BC. During the same period of time, the Han Dynasty, the second imperial dynasty of China, 206 BC until 220 AD, began developing the four pillars of destiny, astrology based on sexagenary years, months, days, and hours, the Wu Jing, the 5 phases of matter, being wood, fire, earth, metal, water, according to the mutual generation sequence, with their 5 planets, and the 12 earthly branches. Chinese astronomers divided the celestial circle into 12 sections to follow the orbit of Suzheng, Jupiter, the year star, which astronomers rounded to 12 years from 11.86. Each of these 12 years was assigned an animal, but the resemblance to the elder Babylonian Egyptian 12 monthly constellation signs of the zodiac round appears, as of yet, coincidental and not directly causally related. Besides the 28 lunar mansions, most charted constellations in Chinese astronomy are based on the works of Shi Shenfu and Gan Di, who were astronomers during the period of Warring States, 481 to 221 BC. The Dunhuang star map, thought to date from the reign of Emperor Zhongzong of Tang, 705 to 710 AD, distinguishes constellations identified by different schools with different colors: white, black, and yellow for stars of Wuzhan, Gan Di, and Shi Shen respectively. The whole set of star maps contained 1,300 stars. Su Song, 1020 to 1101 AD, wrote Jinyi Zhang Fiu in 1092 AD and published it in 1094. This was a treatise on his hydromechanical astronomical clock tower in medieval Kaifeng, which employed the use of an early escapement mechanism, a water-powered armillary sphere, the first to be provided with a mechanical clock drive. the oldest known endless power transmitting chain drive, called the Tian-Ti, or Celestial Ladder, and 133 different clock jacks to indicate and sound the hours. Susong's star maps represent the oldest existent in printed form and include equidistant cylindrical projection star maps, as well as north and south polar projections for Su's celestial globe. The earliest development of the armillary sphere goes back to the 1st century BC, when they were equipped with a primitive single-ring instrument. During the Western Han Dynasty, 202 BC to 9 AD, additional developments made by the astronomers Lu Jiehong, Jiangyu Wangren, and Geng Xiaochang advanced the use of the armillary in its early stage of evolution. In 52 BC, it was the astronomer Geng Shuchang who introduced the fixed equatorial ring to the armillary sphere. The first celestial globe was made by Geng Shuchang between 70 and 50 BC. In the subsequent Eastern Han Dynasty, 23 until 220 AD period, the astronomers Fu An and Jia Kui added the elliptical ring by 84 AD, with the famous statesman, astronomer, and inventor Zhang Heng, 78 to 139 AD. The sphere was totally completed in 125 AD, with horizon and meridian rings. The world's first hydraulic, water-powered, armillary sphere was created by Zhang Heng, 78 until 139 AD, who operated it by use of an inflow clepsydra clock. By the Ming Empire, 1368 to 1644 AD, the celestial globe showed the 28 mansions, celestial equator, and ecliptic. None of these earliest celestial globes have survived outside of writing and art. The Farnese Atlas is a 7-foot, 2.1 meters tall, 150s AD Roman marble copy of a Hellenistic sculpture of Atlas, Titan of Greek mythology, only known to have been represented earlier in vase paintings, whom had been sentenced by Zeus to hold up the sky. In this case, the sky is depicted as a 65-centimeter diameter celestial sphere, with low reliefs depicting 41 or 42 of the 48 classical Greek constellations distinguished by Ptolemy, 100 until 170 AD, and based, presumably, in the original, of which the Farnese is a copy, on the star charts of Hipparchus, around 129 BC.